Hello my lovely people, my name is Faryal Faryal from Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're doing amazing. So in today's video, I'm going to talk about the Toronto real estate market. I will also touch on the news, the media, what they're trying to portray, what they're trying to talk about when it comes to Toronto real estate market. And I'm going to touch on a very touchy subject, which is the interest rates. So let's get right into it, guys. So first, let's take a look at the numbers because numbers don't lie and they tell you exactly what's going on in the market at this moment. So last month, what we saw that the sales dropped by 38.8%, but keep in mind guys, that was the number of sales and not the prices. When it comes to average home prices in Greater Toronto area, we saw year-over-year increase by 9.4%. The interesting thing that I saw was the inventory. The number of new listings were only down by 0.5%, which shows you that the inventory was pretty much the same as it was last year at this time around. We also saw that the average number of days that it's taking us has gone up by 1 day. So last year was 11 days, this year is 12 days. But keep in mind, guys, that last year majority of people were holding offers that extended the days, even though the houses could have sold a lot quicker, a lot faster because of the market conditions. However, that's not the case anymore. So the houses are taking a bit longer as compared to last year to sell. And I would not recommend you to hold offers in this market, but that's a story of another video. But let's take a look at what's happening month over month, because I know year over year we are seeing positive increases in prices, but I really want to show you what we're seeing month over month in our market right now. So I've created a chart that will definitely help you to understand that better. So here it is. Right now we see that in the Greater Toronto area, month over month prices from February to March, we saw a dip of 2.60%. Then we saw another dip in April by 3.5%. Another dip in May by 3.32%. So that kind of gives you an idea that yes, the prices are dropping, but guys, it's not a double-digit significant drop that everywhere media is talking about, and I'm going to touch on it later on. But I really want to show you also the number of sales. So you see from February to March, even though the interest rates did go up in March, the number of sales did go up because that's what the cycle does in real estate market. In spring, the sales go up. That's always been the case. So the sales were up, but then we saw a decrease in April from 10,000, almost 11,000 to 8,000. And then in May, we saw another dip by 7,283. So we did see a decline in number of sales. And that's, of course, there was so many changes in the market that there was a pause and the market did get softened a bit. And we'll talk more further down about it. But let's move on to our next segment, which is the media and the news. Okay guys, so this is article number 1 that I wanted to show to you, which is a perfect example of the headlines trying to grab your attention. So right over here it says Canada housing crash, what could make it happen? So if you read the headline right away, the first thing that comes to your mind is that, oh my god, we're heading towards a crash, what is going to happen, right? But if you go further down into the article and you actually read that, I want to bring it to your attention, it says over here, what are experts saying about the likelihood of Canada's housing crash? Many experts in Canada mortgage industry appears unconvinced that Canada will experience a full-blown housing crash. Instead, experts have told Canadian mortgage professionals that the low-rate environment during the early part of pandemic has spurred the inevitable drop the market has currently experiencing toward more normal levels, which I truly believe as well. We are heading towards more normal market. In other words, the unsustainable pace set in April 2020 has tailed off. We all know that this is a law of polarity, guys. When there's positive, there's negative, and there's highs, there's lows. We experienced quite a bit of a high starting in pandemic when it comes to the housing market. The borrowing was really, really cheap. So we definitely saw an influx of buyers coming into the market, and the prices went nuts, which we all knew will come to an end at one point. This was just not sustainable. So we are definitely not heading towards crash. However, we are heading towards a market that's going to be more normal. So it's just tailing off, market's getting softened, and it's not as bad as it seems to be. Now, I also want to show you another article over here that says Toronto housing crash up to 36% in some GTA suburbs since February 2022. Once again, if you see 36% Toronto housing crash, some people will just look at the article and just move on, but those two things will stick with them. Psychologically, it will have that impact on you, and you will start thinking that 36% prices are going down, and then you go meet your friends and family or tell them like, hey, prices are going down 36%, and then it's like a ripple effect, right? But if you actually look at the article and read it, it says, according to the Toronto Real Estate Board, average real estate prices have fallen sharply in several GTA cities and towns since hitting a peak in February in nearby township of King. So they're giving an example of a town that's called King, Ontario, that's actually located 56.5 kilometers north of Toronto. And prices dropped 36% with the population of 8,396. Though that's the number of people who live there, but only about 2730 dwellings, right? 2,730 dwellings, which means homes in that area. Does that represent the whole GTA? No, it doesn't. So for us to actually spread out and say that Toronto housing market is going to crash and 36% prices are going down is a very unfair thing to say. You really have to be mindful as to what area you're located, what's your location, what type of home you are, because keep in mind, some segments of homes saw a bit of a more drop than the others. If you're looking at more luxury, expensive homes, yes, they're selling more, they're taking more time as before. They were selling a lot faster, and of course, the prices have seen a little bit more dip. But if you're looking at the entry-level homes, like condos, like condo townhomes in general, those haven't seen a big dip. And I also showed you in my previous slide, month over month overall, all home times in the greater Toronto area, we saw a dip, but only up to 3.3%. So that's not that big of a number. So just be really careful when you look at this news. I will suggest to always read the article and really understand if does that apply to you or not. So now that takes me to our next segment, which I'm going to talk about is the interest rates and how it's affecting us and what we have seen in the before pandemic and what we are seeing after pandemic. So let's get right into it, guys. Okay, guys, so now let's talk about the interest rate and what is really happening in the market right now when it comes to interest rates and how it's affecting our economy. So I do want to take you back in time because I feel as humans have this tendency that we forget that this all has happened before. And I want to show you this because it has happened before. So right in front of me is Bank of Canada overnight rate history chart. And if you go back into 2017, 2018, same scenario was going on. We had really low interest rate. If you look at it over here, July 2017, it says 0.50%. Then we have June 2018, which shows 1.25%. Then we also have, starting in 2018, we started to see interest rates go up again. Market slowed down back then again because of the interest rate. And right before the pandemic hit, we were sitting at 1.75% of interest rate. So then pandemic happened and the economy kind of stopped because a lot of people stop spending money. People weren't going on. They were staying home. They weren't shopping outside. They weren't spending money on restaurants or traveling. So the government then decided that, hey, we need to fuel money in. How do we do that? Let's lower the interest rate. And that's when people start to get into the housing market because borrowing money became so cheap. Not just the housing market, also buying cars became cheaper, right? So in general, we saw an influx of buyers coming into the market. They had those savings, they had that extra money and started using it towards investing in real estate, which was great until we reached 2022 and we saw inflation that came in. We saw a war in Ukraine that wasn't predicted that's going to happen. And now we saw that the prices of food, the prices of gas has gone up too. So now that the interest rate's going up,
people are affected, of course, your mortgage payments will be going up, but it also had that psychological effect on people, because now you're going out, you're spending money, your basic needs money has gone up as well. And on top of that, they're talking about raising your interest rates, your mortgage payments are going up. So it's not just one thing, it's two, three things going up at the same time. You have food, gas, you have the basic major things that you need to spend money on has gone up, which is definitely creating a lot of fear among people. But keep in mind, guys, this is something that is not unusual. It might be unusual for you because you might be new to the real estate market, but this cycle has happened before and it's going to happen again, right? So what I am seeing that there's still buyers and sellers in the market who are active or looking. However, everyone's kind of taking a pause right now because they're really evaluating what their next steps will be, especially when it comes to one of your biggest investments. So guys, in the end, after all that's said and done, I personally believe, and what I'm thinking and looking at the market conditions, is that we are heading towards more of a balanced market. I'm still seeing active buyers and sellers in the market who are thinking of making a move. I also see that in the next couple of months, we might have an influx of inventory because people who bought in the last 2 years who are unable to sustain those mortgage payments because of the higher interest rate might be looking to sell their homes. But before you make that decision, I highly recommend you to reach out to your real estate agent who helped you in the deal, your mortgage broker, your lender, whoever that person is, and see if they can come up with some creative solutions to help you in that situation. It's not all that bad. I always think that you can always find solution to a problem if that's where you're at. And some people might just not be even impacted by it and they will move on with their day and their lives. In the end of the day, I'm really interested to know what your thoughts are about the market. So comment below, let me know. I'm curious. And until next time, have yourself a wonderful day and remember to be kind to yourself and others.